The PickSix podcast is here and starts now.
I guess you could say somewhat surprised, but at the end of the day, we all knew somebody was going to have to be on this end of the stick, and it was me. I feel like I did improve. That's what I talked about earlier. My improvement was there, but it's still ways I can improve. There's still ways I can become a better player, become a starter in this league. So I feel like I did a decent job in improving, but there's still a lot more I can do. It's only about to be year 3. Shane already talked about me being 23 years old, so I still got more time. I still got more time to grow and be a great guy in this league. So I'm looking forward, and I'm thankful for every opportunity.
So that was Anthony Richardson's comments after the announcement came out to the press that Daniel Jones will be the opening day starter for the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, he won the job, the experience, I guess 6 years experience. His best season was 2022, where he finished 9-6-1. Of course, that was Saquon Barkley doing most of the work. Anthony Richardson is one of those guys, and I've talked about him on previous podcast episodes, and a guy that I feel could be good, really good. He's only 23 years old. He's got the world ahead of him. When I hear the word tanking, not tanking. That's the first word that came to mind when I heard Anthony Richardson was not going to be starting. I mean, I don't expect the Colts to win 13 games with Anthony Richardson, but I expect something to come out of that, a better evaluation process so that they can decide, do they want to draft another quarterback again, or they're going to stick with him? You drafted him to go with him for the long haul, or the foreseeable future is the better words to be used. You go with Daniel Jones. Like I said, best season was 9-6-1. That was mostly Saquon Barkley. Won a playoff game in Minnesota, which was, again, Saquon Barkley and the defense. You know what you're getting out of Daniel Jones. Like, there's no surprises going to come out of Daniel Jones. And the first word, again, that comes in mind is tanking. Are they going to tank? Probably going to tank. If he plays like crap, is Anthony Richardson going to come in? Yes, hopefully Anthony comes in. He's ready to go. He's 23 years old. He's made mistakes in his first 2 years. Of course, him copying out of that situation, which everybody's talked about. I talked about in previous podcasts, but whatever. He's a human being. He knows he's got to get it together. The NFL has no patience for players. We know that. He's got to be ready. I mean, he's got this rap career that he's got going apparently. Put that on hold and work on the football. I guarantee you, if he puts the football stuff together, he is going to be good. He is going to be good. So, also, I want you guys to hear these post-game comments from Coach O'Connell after a game to Anthony Richardson, and all these comments that he made towards him. I absolutely agree. The future is bright. So take a listen, and then I'm going to continue on.
Hey, do me a favor and remember something. Okay. You're a bad dude.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to play a long time in this league.
Yes, sir.
All right? Go to work every day. Good things will happen for you. I still believe in you. I know these guys too. Shane does too.
Yes, sir.
And this organization loves you. Go to
work. Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, always. All love.
Appreciate it.
Coach O'Connell doing what he does best. Stay positive and, lets his players know and other players throughout the league that you could do something in a league that's very tough and cutthroat. And Anthony Richardson's got the tools. He has the tools to be great, especially in a league that's very biased, especially in the world where, especially the football world, specifically, that's biased towards black quarterbacks, and most times asking the black quarterback secretly and quietly, maybe you should be a wide receiver, like a Tutu Atwell and Terrell Pryor and other guys that, unfortunately took that, wide receiver role because they weren't good enough according, but they never asked Daniel Jones to be a tight end, They never asked Aaron Rodgers to be a wide receiver. They never asked Josh Rosen to be a punter. They never asked Carson Wentz to be a fullback. You know, I can go on and on, but it's always a black quarterback that they're asking to make a transition. Not all, because there's been some extraordinary ones that they just cannot deny. The Warren Moons, of course, Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, and the guys now, of course, Jalen Hurts doing what he can do, although people are still hating on him. And the list goes on and on and on. And if I missed any guys, I apologize. You guys know who you are. But there's always been the stigmatism, and Anthony Richardson has been taking a lot of flack lately. I mean, let's just look at the career so far. Again, as I mentioned before, he's 6'4", 244. He started 15 games. He's 8-7. 50% completion, 11 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and he's in his third year. Let's go to Daniel Jones. In 70 games, he has a record of 22-44 with one tie, 64% completion, 70 touchdowns, 47 interceptions. That's mediocre. That's a backup quarterback stats that I see. You know, he's got those backup quarterback intangibles. He's got the AFL intangibles. He's got that CFL intangibles, but he's starting in the NFL. You know, so. But all I'm going to say is that the Colts are in a tanking season, because the way I see it, when you start Daniel Jones, who's already shown you what he is. I mean, in 6 years, he's shown us that he is Daniel Jones. Even the pick, when that pick was made in the draft by the Giants, people laughed their heads off. Let's just be real. I'm not here to insult. I'm just speaking facts. This is not a media thing. This is reality. So I don't know what they're going to do. And the Colts in the last, 13 years have had 13 quarterbacks, if I'm correct. Like, I mean, I remember Andrew Luck after 2018 retired, and then Jacoby Brissett took over. Then they had Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan and Daniel Jones, of course, now the starter. They had Flacco, Tolson, Hoyer, Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew, Sam Ellinger. I mean, I remember all those guys, and I'm not even a Colts fan. I'm a fan of the game, and I remember all these quarterbacks they've had, and they're trying to get it right. And, you know, I mean, sorry, but Flacco, Foles, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers were not in their prime when you brought them in. These guys were way past their prime. They were off great seasons, MVPs, Super Bowls. Like, you had two starting quarterbacks. I mean, Flacco did take over for Richardson in 2023, if I'm correct, for a few games. Flacco off a Super Bowl, Matt Ryan off the the New England 28-3 choke job. Still won the MVP that season. Carson Wentz off that potential MVP season when he got hurt. Those guys were not the same when you picked them up. You pick these guys up at the tail end of their careers. You know, you're not getting another Andrew Luck out of that. But anyways, those are all the guys you picked up. You have Anthony Richardson there. Don't fail him, Indy. Give him a chance. Let him show you what he has. If it doesn't work out, then yeah, go get somebody else. But just don't give up on him, and then now you're gonna go pick up Daniel Jones. I'm sorry, but 6 years, the verdict is in. He's an AFL, CFL quarterback, and that's all I gotta say. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say on that. The next thing, I want you guys to listen to this clip. This was after Shedeur Sanders' first preseason game, and him and Mr. Tony Grossi, who does radio for Cleveland, and he's one of those media guys that's got a lot of lip, a lot of mouth. Just listen to this footage, and I'm going to get to that, to the rest of that after. And I'm going to talk about the whole Cleveland situation and all that. Just listen here.
I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You only say negative stuff about me. No. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. No, don't think that. I ain't seen nothing positive that you ever say. But I think something positive these days. Come on, Tony. What I do to you, Tony?
So Shedeur decides after his preseason win, after, Cleveland played pretty well. He had a good showing. Decides to approach Mr. Grossi, who has been absolutely cooking him on the radio since he got drafted, which is true. If you haven't got a chance to hear, please go online, Google his name, and listen to all the stuff he's been saying. He's been pretty bad. Very, very bad. Like, to the terms of, when I say terms of being bad, he's one of those media guys who really just, he needs to quit. Sorry, but do your job, but be respectful about it. So come on, you guys don't understand that Shedeur Sanders is the son of one of the most flamboyant athletes in the history of sports. Nobody was a Deion Sanders during his time. Even Bo Jackson, who was another two sports athlete, was not that flamboyant. He just came to play. Deion had all the flash, the flair, and proved it on the fields, whether it's the baseball field or the football field. He grew up around that. So for him not to come with a little bit of that, it's crazy not to think that. Everybody's already talking about, he's got an entourage and this and that. And then, of course, you hear Colin Cowherd on the herd saying, well, Dylan Gabriel's more boring and he's shorter. I'd rather Shedeur, but this, but that. No, either you want Shedeur, there's no buts. There's no buts on Shedeur. Whether you want him to start or not, I've watched him in one preseason game. He's been good. I feel like he can get better. There are some things he can, but he'll be fine. And him being, on the team and the whole draft situation, whatever. We all know it's politics. Let's stop fooling ourselves. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is, who's going to be number 2? You got to go with Shedeur. Based on the intangibles and, of course, what he is. And I know people don't want the media this and media that, but I guarantee you, you ain't selling no Dylan Gabriel jerseys. You ain't selling no Kenny Pickett jerseys, although you have him now as your number 2 quarterback. I saw Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. You might as well just bring in Chad Kelly from the Argos. Might as well, or just call Johnny Manziel. Ask Johnny Manziel if he wants to come back and try out for the team. Sorry, Kenny Pickett, the verdict is in on him. He's out. Dylan Gabriel, who knows? He might be good. But Shedeur, you know what you guys are doing, and it's awful what Cleveland is doing to him. So, like I said, there's one more preseason game left. We'll see what happens there, and we'll see the number 2 is. If Cleveland doesn't have Shedeur as a number 2, then you just release him. Let him go. Let him walk. He'll be fine. He'll go somewhere else where they actually want him, because I think Cleveland's just playing games, to be quite honest with you all here. So, but at the end of the day, we'll see how this plays out. I think Shedeur should be number 2, and that's that. No further comment on that. So, anyways, this next clip that I'm going to play here is with Teddy Bridgewater, as he talks about his relationship with the kids that he coached at Miami Northwestern. He was subsequently suspended for illegal stuff, which really was him helping his kids out. Making sure they get home, make sure they have equipment, all that stuff, staying out of trouble, keeping them focused on football and life itself. So just listen to that clip and I'll get back to that.
When I decided to coach, those players became my sons. And I want to make sure that I just protect them in the best way that I can. And, I think that's what came about. Minding up lessons in a tough neighborhood. And sometimes things can happen when kids are walking home and different things like that. So I just try to protect them, give them ride home instead of having to take those dangerous walks. But I just want people to continue to see me for the person that I've been, from the time I arrived in the NFL, from the time that I arrived at University of Louisville. Just a humble guy who has a big heart and a cheerful giver. It's a great group of kids, and they see so much hope when they look at me. And I always said it's food for my soul. It's the way that I feed my soul, and it allows me to stay young being around those kids.
Of course, Teddy doing what Teddy does, and he's penalized and punished for it. Currently, he is the backup quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that was his press conference addressing the situation. Of course, Teddy being a graduate for his alma mater, Miami Northwestern University, who won the state championship last fall. And he's still connected with the kids. As you could see, there was also a video that came out where he FaceTimed the team. And the team was just absolutely ecstatic to see him. This man exudes respect. He exudes kindness and so many good qualities for a human being. His job is not just to coach. His job is to make sure his players are safe. His players are able to be better citizens, to just be better everything. And what he did was nothing really illegal, because most coaches out there across the United States and most college institutions do 10 times worse. And nobody talks about it, nobody hears about it, and they're still coaching. But for some reason, you got a guy like this who is setting the standard for what it takes to keep these kids safe in a rough city like Miami. Miami's not what you guys just see on TV with Liberty cities where they are playing, but Miami Beach and all this other, whatever you call it, South Beach or whatever. It's not that. This is Liberty City. That's a totally different world from what you see on TV. So what Teddy Bridgewater has been doing for not only these kids, but the program is extraordinary. And congratulations to them for winning the state championship last year. And congratulations to Teddy Bridgewater for being that coach to change the culture. Because no matter what anybody says with these young kids today, sometimes that's all you need, is just to give them that vote of confidence, to give them that respect, and you will see great things happen. If you've ever had conversations with Gen Zs or even younger kids, they're very intelligent kids, although they have the access to all the technology devices in the world. A simple, general, classic conversation about things that they could do to be better and things that could help them be better, you could see the difference in their faces. So shout out to Teddy Bridgewater, man. The city of Miami, a shame on you. The football board, shame on you. And anybody that was a part of this, shame on you. You'll be back. Now, before I close the show, I said earlier 13 quarterbacks and 13 years for Indy. That was completely wrong. 13 quarterbacks since 2018. Andrew Luck, of course, quarterbacking in 2018 for the Colts, and then just shockingly retiring before the 2019 season started. And like I said, since then, they had 13 quarterbacks. I named them earlier during the podcast. So again, a disaster in Indy, and I'm not going to get into it more because I already have. So I'm going to leave it at that. But before I close, again, if you haven't got a chance, please check out Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is a fantastic show. You don't have to be a fan of these teams, but it just gives you a whole insight of what really goes on. And of course, the internet's always available too to get this information. But Hard Knocks is pretty good. No, it's really good. So Buffalo Bills are the team this year. Usually they put losing teams every year. That's really hasn't worked out too well. But this year they got a team who's contending for a Super Bowl, and it gives you a better insight of really how things are. But nevertheless, that's the show, folks. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. You know the deal. That's a wrap. I'm out.